Okay, welcome back, everybody. I know it has been a little bit since we've done one of these, but we are here. We are ready to go, and I'm here with special guest Tanner. How's it going?
Hey, I'm here.
You're here. All right. So, quick recap from the season. Obviously, congratulations once again to Zach. You have snagged your second championship. Well
Yeah.
done, sir. Beating out maybe just maybe. And Tanner, you ended up in third. Man, what happened?
You saw my team crapped out when it mattered, just like the Saints.
Yeah, and it sucks because if you would have won that game in the
Yup, I would
semifinals,
have beat both of them in the final. Yeah, well, whatever. That's pretty much my every season. So what's new?
it happens. And our loser is obviously Chubbawamba. She took that one with
Womp womp.
pretty great there. I'm still waiting for Zach to officially hand down the punishment, but definitely want to
That's
see
right.
that one as soon as it's available. But do want to talk really quick before we get into kind of our top tens and into our final rosters, which will both be attached to the email. I do want to talk to you a little bit about the Super Bowl that unfolded a week ago. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it was boring as hell to watch Tom Brady win again, thanks to refs and just a team falling apart. I mean, there was, and also you got to give credit to the Tampa Bay defense. They have been really dominant and they made Tom Brady look good. So what do you know? All he had to do is dink and dunk his way to success, as he always does.
And staying there, and I had this whole rant planned in my head, but I don't, I've had some time to sit on it since last week, and I don't really want to just kind of jump into it. I've never been one for conspiracy theories when it comes to the NFL saying, oh, everything's rigged. They know who's going to win, whatever. Until I saw the Green Bay versus Tampa game and then the Super Bowl, I was like, you know what? Screw it. That was definitely 100% ready to go. All of Peyton Manning getting set up for the Hall of Fame, everything they said was, oh, he's the only quarterback to ever win Super Bowls with two different franchises. And then, oh, look at this. Lo and behold, Tom Brady. He does it the next day. Are you freaking
Yeah.
kidding me? Not to mention the fact that, like, when he won the Super Bowl, when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl, right, with the Denver Broncos, what was the whole reason he won the Super Bowl that year? It was 1,000% the defense, and the defense gets
Oh,
all the credit for it, right?
a lot say that. Yeah, oh yeah, there were all the it's a wobbly ball now, blah, 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 all that stuff.
No,
Yeah.
it was the same thing with Tom Brady. Did nothing. He did everything in his power not to win the game against Green Bay, and then the defense
Right.
just stopped Patrick Mahomes. Dude was like literally falling over, throwing touchdown passes, and everybody else around Tom Brady was taking care of it. Like,
Yeah.
ridiculous. Not to mention, here's the ultra conspiracy theory here. You ready for this rabbit hole?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right. So before the Super Bowl, there was the big talk about how there was the first time a female ref was going to be
Yeah, I
right.
remember him talking that up.
Yeah, they talked that up. Take a wild guess what her son's name is. No joke. Her son's name is Brady.
Wow.
You've got to be kidding me. No, there were moments
No,
in the
I'm with
first
you.
quarter. Tom
I'm with
Brady
you.
was
I've been
like,
saying this rigged forever.
he was staring down this ref, and it's like, well, now that the woman's here with the son, literally named Brady, is gonna throw the flag on the next play. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah. Oh, there was definitely all of a sudden after play he'd give a look, and then the next play there was a penalty. It's like,
Oh, it's
okay.
offsides. What? That's this is pass
Encroachment?
interference. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody spit in the direction of a ref, and it's 15
Yeah.
yards. Okay. No. All right. We'll see what happens next year. But screw you, Tom Brady. I hate you. On the same note, though, I do have a Tom Brady rookie card. If anybody's looking to buy it, I'd be happy to get it off my hands.
I think that's awesome that you have that. I mean, I definitely sell it, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, enough bitching about Tom Brady. Let's go ahead and jump into these top tens here because that's really what we wanted to talk about today. Obviously, they will be sent in the emails to everybody when I send out this podcast. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's because you didn't open up your email. So, anyways, the first one is obviously quarterbacks. Tanner, it does look like you are pretty well stacked when it came to quarterbacks this year. Both you and Arthur had two in the top 10.
After as much shit as I got for Aaron Rodgers, too.
Yeah, I don't know who was giving you shit for that. But
Yeah, okay.
drafting
Wait,
a little early, but you know.
we'll see. I mean, I can't see a scenario where I can keep him for another year though.
I don't
There's
know.
just too many other.
Would you be keeping him, or are you looking at like Justin Herbert? Because that's only, what is that? I mean, sure, it's 70-point difference between the two of them, but number 8 quarterback versus the number 1, who's obviously going to regress.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way I'm keeping Rodgers. Herbert is the play. That's why even I think it was Deshaun wanted to trade for Herbert at one point in the season, and I was like, dude, I'll give you Rodgers. I'm not giving you Herbert.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's my dynasty. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. So I mean, now hopefully it's better coaching staff. He'll actually have a fighting chance to win some. And
Yeah. What about some of the rest of these top 10 quarterbacks? Obviously, it goes Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes, Watson, Murray, Wilson, Brady, which is a surprise, Herbert, Tannehill, and Jackson, who seemed a little low, but obviously he had a rough year. Which one's the biggest surprise, or are these all just kind of, yep, makes sense?
no, the biggest surprise is definitely Brady. But I don't know if we should have been that surprised because of the wide receiver core he has and the offensive line. I think we were just so used to crab legs just sucking that we just thought, well, even if Brady, someone that's a competent passer is behind that O line, it's still going to be hit or miss. And no, it just takes someone that can be semi-accurate and consistent, and those wide receivers get open. I mean, when you got Evans,
Seriously.
yeah, and then he brought in Brown later, who
Evans.
ended up being at least a good pull for the defense. At least they covered
Seriously. That entire team, it's like somebody who's playing fantasy football. They have Antonio Brown, they have Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, Tom Brady, whatever. Okay, the Gronk came out of nowhere in the second half of the season.
Yeah, that's if we get to tight ends, he's definitely up there on
Seriously.
biggest surprises.
And Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and you're looking at all these guys and you're just like, huh, you really think Tom Brady was like the man in that team? It's like you could have just put literally a toaster back there and you would have been just fine. Yeah. But anyway, anyways, your rookie's on there. Is he the only rookie on there? Actually, he is.
Yeah, he is actually.
Right.
Well, and he wasn't my rookie pick. I mean,
no.
But I did grab him as soon as he started. It was someone actually Dad originally had said when we're drafting the rookies, he was like, you should grab Herbert. He's going to be really good. I think he'd play, but
Yeah.
So I was like, why waste a pick on him if he's just going to bench the whole season, maybe play one game? Sure. But luckily, just timing wise, the minute he was free, no one else was after him, so I grabbed him, and it ended up. I mean, not like I needed him, but nice that I have him. So yeah. And then Kyler Murray, I think, was a bit disappointing. I know I'm going to be in the minority and get flamed for this. No pun intended. But I didn't think I'm not surprised by Lamar Jackson. I'm just not. I figured there'd be some regression. I just don't think he's a very good passer, and I don't see any improvement. Whereas Josh Allen this season, he went from one of the worst downfield passers to being pretty damn good at it. Whereas Lamar Jackson, I just don't see that kind of improvement. I just don't. He's quick. He's a runner. Mm-hmm. He can read defenses okay, but he's never a deep threat. So they never have to put any coverage on his receivers, and it just Yeah. So that one doesn't surprise me, honestly. And I unless they change some things up, I think he's going to just continue to get worse and worse. But
all right. So then, of these top 10s, you obviously said your piece about Jackson. Are any of these other 9 fellows going to be up here again this next season, or are they all going to shift around like they always seem to?
Oh, and I think the top 5 are pretty well locked in.
Even if Watson goes to somebody, say, like Denver?
Oh, hell yeah. I think he pretty much has a better fighting chance anywhere he goes. I mean, that O-line, the Texans O-line and their coaching staff just needs to all be put to sleep. Like, it's ridiculous. They let him get hurt so much. And of course, I want him at the Saints, but there's no in hell to afford him.
Oh, yeah. No, latest rumor that I've seen is Carolina is thinking about packaging McCaffrey with first rounds to get Deshaun Watson. I don't know why they do that, but,
Yeah, I mean, cut off your nose, spite your face kind of thing. I don't think that would. I mean, who knows? I mean, I think he's one of my favorite backs in the league. I think he's just being wasted down in Texas. So, but I love him as a player. I think he's Russell Wilson, but better, in my opinion. He could scramble better, but he was more of a downfield threat from the get-go. Now, Russell Wilson at this time is probably a better player, but he also has a lot more years under his belt. But I think Deshaun Watson has a potential to be better than Wilson. So,
Yeah. I think both, speaking of Wilson, I think Wilson, Murray, and no, I think those were mostly the main two on this list that stood out as ones that at the beginning of the season, they looked amazing. They were fantastic. And the only reason they're still up on this list is because those first 6 games were so good. And the second half of the year was just meh. And that's why guys like Tannehill and Herbert, who remained consistent, and Allen, who was just on fire most of the year, were able to work their way up this list. But
well, yeah, and you have to wonder if Herbert, I pretty much guarantee Herbert would have been higher if he had had a full season,
Yeah.
I mean, he missed two or 3 games. I don't remember how long it was before he was brought in. It wasn't many, but still, with the points he was putting up, would only take a couple games to really shoot up that list. So,
sure.
Yeah. So I guess in that regard, I think Herbert's going to be top 5 next year. I hope, so, but I can't imagine. I mean, maybe Tom Brady will get another year where he's up there, but I don't see him at 7 again. Ryan Tannehill was pretty random.
Yeah.
And I think Lamar Jackson will stay near top 10. I think he'll always be right on the fringe there,
Sure.
At least for our league. If it was pure well, I guess PPR doesn't matter because then it wouldn't to the QB. But anyway.
Yeah. All right, so then we're going to jump on over to the next list here, and that is the top 10 running backs of the season. Quite decisively up there at the top is Derrick Henry, followed by Cook, Kamara, Jones, Taylor, Montgomery, Robinson, Chubb, Jacobs, and Elliott. Outside the obvious shocks because of injury, what's the biggest...
Jonathan Taylor, no question.
Yeah.
I don't know how the hell he's up there. It's just volume. I mean, he's a good running back. I'm not saying but he's not top 5 in my opinion. It's just, I think that was more situational than anything. But, and David Montgomery, I think too, it's just a volume base. Mm-hmm. James Robinson, clearly volume base. Except, I mean, don't get me wrong though, he did step up. I mean, he put up with the amount of volume they were giving him, just like Fournette did. So
yeah.
And then Chubb, I honestly think could be higher. I think just pure runner, he's one of the best there, but again, bad situation matters.
Well, and he was injured.
Josh Jacobs, same thing, better player than most of the guys above him, but he's never going to get more than that just because of the team he's on. And then your boy, what do you want to talk about your boy?
I would love to talk about him. You know what I think this is a Mike McCarthy problem. It's not Elliott. He's not washed up as any of those. Just look at, where was Mike McCarthy 2 years ago? He was in Green Bay. He was in Green Bay as the head coach.
And who didn't perform?
Who didn't perform for him? And then he leaves, and Aaron Jones is like, "Oh wait, hold up! You're talking the running back that's sitting at number 4 on our list. He's higher than Ezekiel Elliott, who was number 3 last year, and then Mike McCarthy steps in and literally fucks him in the end. It's like, come on now. Now some of this obviously has to do with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott he got hurt earlier in the season. He was also vulturing all of my touchdowns at the beginning of the season. I was surprised I was in first for 3 weeks. I know nobody remembers that. I was sitting at first place at one point this season. And I was thinking, if I can get McCaffrey back, I'll actually be okay. And then terrible. Mike McCarthy, that's the problem that I have right now.
I have no argument with that. I think you're 100% on point, because I feel like I heard someone in a podcast make that comparison. I kind of forgot about that, but towards the end of the season, they'd said that. They're like, remember how bad Aaron Jones was until he left, and now all of a sudden he's one of the best running backs. And then I didn't even put 2 and 2 together that he went to the Cowboys.
He just screwed over. If you just watch it's like this dude never fumbles, but it's like he's had the most fumbles of his entire career this year alone. I seem to recall Aaron Jones having a fumble problem back in the day too. I don't know how anybody over there is like, let's go get the guy that literally screwed over. I mean, again, Aaron Jones, great running back, has Aaron Rodgers. They didn't really need a running back because you have Aaron freaking Rodgers. But this dude is still one of the top running backs in the league. And now Dallas has him, and it's like, I don't know that Elliott will make the top 10 next year just because I am afraid for what might become of that offense.
Yeah, it does suck because they have a lot of the pieces there to be really good. And it does seem like they're just getting squandered. Even though I kind of hate the Cowboys. But hey, they do have a good offense when they're firing, and all healthy.
Yeah, I don't know. There are certain players on there. It's one of those that I tend to go the fantasy football route where there are certain guys I'm like, I'm a root for you. I like watching Dak play. It's kind of fun. There are a couple of guys, was it Van Der Esch on defense? You're like, okay, I can get behind this. And then it's like, then you have the coaching staff, and it's just like, no, you're also a Cowboy, so I hate you. So
Yeah, it's always in the back of your mind, right?
Exactly. All right, let's talk about some of these others, obviously, because masochistic monkeys, Derrick Henry up top. That's ridiculous.
Your thoughts? You think he's gonna be able to keep that up? I have no faith he's gonna be able to keep that up. What
I
do you
don't.
think?
I don't know that he can keep it up this year. He looked a little slower than he did last year, but obviously that fantasy points wise, it didn't seem to be a problem for him.
Well, it was a lower playing field. Let's keep that in mind with McCaffrey out and Barkley out. So,
Sure,
but yeah,
sure. And I mean, Tannehill's top 10 for the QBs, and I think just so long as they have those two pieces, Titans are kind of okay, especially with the wide receiver core that they have. It's not a terrible thing to have, Derrick Henry just kind of steamroll guys who he's one of those guys like Marshawn Lynch that just gains steam as the game goes on, and if you're rooting against him, like you're just like, all right, somebody needs to like, how hard is it to stop this guy? He's been carrying four of you for 30 yards, like just knock it off.
yeah, no, I think Lynch is the perfect comparison because they just wear down defenses, man. It's what they do.
Yeah.
They just hit them hard enough until they just, and it does. By the end, they probably are more tired, but those defenses are much more tired. So yeah, and it just again always amazes me because I don't understand even how he pulls it off. Like other than roids, which I'm sure he's on, but 90% of the players are anyway, so whatever. I don't see like he's such an upright runner. I don't get how he takes and dishes out these hits by the way he runs. You would think eventually, like Lynch was much more down barrel, in your face. I don't get how Henry like can take all these hits and all this punishment he's taken when he's essentially standing straight up, just like strutting down the field. But he's pulled it off now for a good solid 2 years, and he's been amazing at it. So it's tough to doubt him, but I can't imagine anyone being able to keep that up. Their entire offense runs through him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens there. But now, before we jump over to the wide receivers, because these are kind of laid together in a way, the biggest shock not in the top 10 wide receivers. Now, sitting at number 3 on the running backs, though, Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
We need to talk about that a little bit. And so you need to tell me what's going to happen next year, if I need to target him in other leagues, or if, what's going to happen.
I have no idea, man. Because I don't even know who's going to be a starting quarterback. So who knows? Breeze still hasn't officially said he's done. Mm-hmm. Everyone's assuming he is, but he still hasn't officially said it. So if Breeze comes back, hell yeah, get Kamara for another year. Obviously, with Taysom under center, it's going to be a different team. So you're going to have to look. But I do think that Alvin Kamara can be just as good with Hill under center if Peyton adjusts. Sure. But so far, Peyton has shown that he's trying to play Hill like he's Breeze, just a little more mobile. And that is baffling me because they're such different players.
Yeah.
I think if they actually play to Hill's strengths and let him just dump off occasionally to Kamara, that's fine. But he's always like the third or fourth look. And Taysom Hill already takes enough time to get through his looks. So by the time, Kamara's like, he's been open. But by the time, Hill sees him, he's not open anymore. And Hill's just going to cut and run.
Sure.
So I think if they make the adjustments, hell yeah, he'll be. And even at that, I know a lot of people try to say that he's only good at catching. But if he's a great just down the center, breaking tackles runner when he's allowed to be too.
He's shifty. He's shifty too.
Well, yeah, he'll break tackles just because like they can't quite get his feet or whatever. So he's always going to get that extra 3 or 4. He'll fall forward 3 or 4 yards further than most running backs will, just because he can stay on his feet just slightly longer.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I would say Peyton's play calling has been one of the biggest issues with the Saints. Is he's doing he'll do just the most conventional, run down the middle twice, pass, and then kick, run down the middle twice, pass, and just over and over to where it's like defenses have just figured it out. So it's like, yeah, stuff the box on the first 2 plays, even if it is Kamara and he can break through usually. Well, when you got 8 defenders on him, he isn't going to go anywhere. Yeah. So anyway, I could talk on this forever. I'll shut up.
No, that's all right. That's why I brought this one up, because obviously the biggest shock now in number 10, mostly due to injury, but Michael Thomas. He's not here. We have Adams, Hill, Diggs, Ridley, Metcalf, Jefferson, Hopkins, Brown, Robinson, and Tyler Lockett. Was it all injury? Are we going to see Michael Thomas have a resurgence next year, or what's going on again in New Orleans?
I think we could, because I do think his just center of the field, like kind of midfield where he catches everything, he just boxes dudes out and is really physical. That's his game. Mm-hmm. He's never been a run down the. He's not a Tyreek Hill. He's not a burner. He's not speeding past dudes. He's big and can command the field and can beat the defenders on him. And then he's hard to bring down. So I do think that he'll still be very viable. I mean, even if it is Hill, you saw how much he still used him. I mean, he's going to get more use than Kamara is if Hill is under center. So I think that he'll come back up. It was just an off year, and it was when he was back in, it was clear that him and Brees just didn't have the connection. They were trying to work it back up. Mm-hmm. And again, I'll give it to the play calling. I don't think that they're making many calls where he was able to get open. You know, it was in the defenders are always going to be all over him because he's so dominant. So in those ways, it's hard to say. But I think if he's allowed to do what he does, I think he can do it just as successfully without Brees.
Sure.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. All right. So for the rest of these top 10, obviously, I think guys like Adams, Hill, Diggs, probably Ridley, all these guys, Hopkins is a little lower than he probably should have been. But most of these guys are pretty much the creme de la creme, if you will, and they're pretty well expected. Outside of maybe Justin Jefferson, obviously rookie, he's a little high. Lockett, inconsistent as all hell. And Allen Robinson, another one of those, probably a little random for where he is with the team he's on, no?
I'm a big Allen Robinson fan, so I love to see him up there. But, I mean, yeah, it is kind of like when's the other shoe going to drop, and he's finally just going to be done. Yeah. But no, I'm a big fan of his. I love seeing him up there.
Yeah. And so then Diggs up there at number 3 is that surge with Josh Allen being number 2. The other one I did want to point out, weirdly in similar spots, is A.J. Brown, number 8. That was also right around, what's his name if I recall, yes? No, Tannehill was 9. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, but pretty close. I mean, and he was one that I used to time on before, and I was just like, I thought he was going to do crap. So
yeah,
it was. I guess Tannehill was the difference, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's talk now. DK Metcalf versus Tyler Lockett, and how much they thrive off of each other, or I would probably say actually probably steal from each other. With no, I know we should probably get somebody like Zach in here to talk about how great they are and how Russell Wilson can, feed them both while they're trying to run more, I think was why they lost their offensive coordinator, and really doesn't make sense because you have guys like DK freaking Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. But, I don't know. What do you think about these two?
Oh, I mean, they're both great players. I've just never loved Lockett, but he's obviously put up he's been consistent in the sense that he's always right around here every year, but it is boom or bust. I feel like it's all just if Russ is going to feed him. But I think that DK Metcalf is he's a standout that's going to be dominant if given the opportunity. I mean, he's just a beast. I think if you're just talking pure skill and just speed for his size and everything, he's a freak of nature, and he's not going anywhere. As long as Russ can keep getting him the ball, he's not going anywhere. And hey, keep Tyler Lockett there and pull coverage. Why not?
Yeah, makes sense there. I don't know that I have much more to say about those wide receivers. You got anything else to add on them?
No, not really. I mean, again, I think Diggs is super talented, but I always saw him as insanely inconsistent. Mm-hmm. Especially as many options as Allen has. I don't know if he'll always stay up there, but then again, I think a lot of the argument was just that back when he was with the Vikings, he just wasn't getting fed enough, but he was also such a diva. It's hard to say. So I don't know. Again, I'm not in love with him just because I feel like he's too volatile, but he is insanely talented. No question.
Sure. All right. Well, now we're going to jump on over to the tight ends. And the tightest of end is obviously Travis Kelce, demolishing everybody else. But it's Waller, Tonyan, Thomas, Gesicki, Andrews, Hawkinson, Gronkowski, Hurst, and Kittle. I believe this is the first category where we've had free agents not owned by any team. That's Gesicki and Hayden Hurst. Obviously,
Gesicki is the one that blows my mind.
Yeah. This field is pretty volatile. And looking at George Kittle, who I believe only played 3 games, is sitting at number 10. But, I mean, you look from even you could say number 5 to number 1. The jump from 297, I guess it's dropped from 297 all the way down to 138 at number 5. That's ridiculous.
It is.
But I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we were going to talk about Gronkowski a little bit, and I think that one's probably one of the biggest shocks of it because those names outside what's normally the top three in Kelsey and then Waller, and I believe it was Ertz had been a consistent one for a couple years. Now he's not. Sure. I don't think we really need to talk about any of the rest of them because most of them are, which week is it? But let's talk Gronkowski a minute.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was waiting for you. I want to hear what you have to say.
I don't have anything other than, if we're taking ex-Patriots that went there, he's my favorite. I love Gronk. It was actually awesome to see him perform. I hate that it helped Brady, but I thought it was actually really fun because when he first came out, there's all the jokes, it's skinny Gronk now. He's not going to do anything. By the end of the season, though, he was on fire.
He was back to being
doing his thing.
Yeah, he was back to being Gronkowski, and it was sad to see because, like you said, it was Brady. But man, he's fun to watch. He's also one of those the entire team around Brady. Every single time, it's not the system. Oh, it's Tom Brady. No. You get guys like Gronkowski, and if you can't hit that bus 5 yards away from you, I'm sorry, you're probably the worst thrower in the world. Like
the dude has a catch radius of the sun. No shit.
Seriously, it's all him, Kelsey, and there's a couple tight ends that are always you just watch them and you're just like, yeah, maybe if you were on the field watching them, he's like, I'm just gonna get out of the way. I don't want to get hit by that right now. I'd like to see.
So true.
Anyways, those are the tight ends. Those are a little disappointing all in all. But
and obviously Kittle, I'm sure will be back to top 3 as long as he's healthy.
Yeah, that was
if not one. He was supposed to dethrone Kelsey this year, but he just didn't get the opportunity. I still think he's totally capable of it.
He is. What do you think about their quarterback situation over there? Are they going to move on from Jimmy G Beautyface?
Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. That team is so weird how they run their offense. I can never outguess what the hell they're going to do with their running backs and everything. So I'm not even pretend to know what the hell they're planning. I don't know. It could go either way.
All right, fair enough. The category now that everybody was waiting for was obviously kickers. We're not going to talk about them because who really gives a rat's ass?
Yep. Right.
Unless you want to talk about Ryan Suckup there.
Oh, yeah. Old Suckup.
Suckup.
Anyway, fun to say.
Yeah. Top 10 defenses. We have Indy, Pittsburgh, New Orleans, Buffalo, the Rams, Baltimore, Washington, Chicago, Miami, and Tampa Bay. Defense is defense, but Indy, obviously a little bit of shock. Pittsburgh was great the first half of the year. New Orleans, though, look at them.
Yeah, this is multiple years now they've been in there, and it's been since Dennis Allen came and cleaned up. We went from being the worst defense in the league to being a contender. So
yeah.
It's been awesome to see, and we have a lot of talented backs, but the refs hate them all, so we'll see.
It's ridiculous. Some of these, it's like you think about the teams that some of these guys play that are in the top 5. Obviously, I think LA is probably one of the better defenses because they actually play, you play Russell Wilson twice a year. You play against, when they're healthy, the San Francisco 49ers. Like, you actually have to have a pretty good defense to kind of keep those guys in check. But it's like you have Buffalo. Most years, they're a pretty good defense, but they're always playing. Oh wait, Tom Brady in this? Okay, never mind. Anyway. But they're in Buffalo and now they were playing Cam Newton and the Jets. Like, come on! Of course, these guys are going to be New Orleans. Obviously, there is a lot of skill there. Pittsburgh, they're playing? Oh wait, they played a whole bunch of shitty teams for the first half of the year.
Oh yeah, no question.
And the Browns beat the first half. Come on, guys. And, and then Indianapolis, the number one. They play the Texans twice a year. Come on, man. All of these guys, just ridiculous. Anyways, anybody going to keep any of these guys into next season, you think?
Yeah.
The answer is...
I'm kind of thinking not, just because of who's holding on to top ones. Maybe Haley will hold on to Nola, but...
The answer is always no. You should not keep a defense unless
you didn't say should you. You asked if anyone was going to. There's a difference.
You should not keep a defense.
No shit. I've done it, and it burned me in the ass.
The only time it made sense was, again, when the LA Rams, who have been in the top 5 for the last 5 seasons, several years ago, when they demolished everyone. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. All right. Anything else you want to add for these top 10s? Are we able to move on to not really the important part of the podcast, but, the next part?
The other part.
The other part.
Nah, I got none of that. I've already talked my bullshit on that. So.
All right. Well, we're going to move on. So now for something completely different. We're going to talk the final rosters. And again, this one is going to be attached to the email. Tanner, you do have an early copy of this, so congratulations. You see it before anyone else does.
So honored.
Yeah. Next to everybody's players, and it should be complete rosters. If I messed up, let me know. But you're probably wrong because I definitely got it right. Next to all of the names is all of their tenures. Bold ones are the ones that you have to choose if you're going to franchise tag them, but they're at their tenure mark. So obviously, we're just going to kind of go through these, not really one by one, but let's just talk about some of these things on here. Flaming Moe's. He has to choose between Dalvin Cook and Joe Mixon at the end of the year. Looks to be solid.
I wonder.
Yeah. I wonder who you're going to go with. But does he keep...
No, I even talked to him a little about Mixon, but it sounded like he had some potentials at work, but I'm hoping for maybe like an Evans-Mixon type trade. But
all right. I could see that going. You are next, and we are going to be talking about Evans and Kamara here. But before we jump from his team, I do want to talk about Lamar Jackson a little bit. You already kind of shit on that train, but you think...
hey, I'm not shitting on him. Obviously, he's still top 10.
Is he a keepable asset moving into the next season?
Yeah, I personally, I think that there's better options, but also I understand Zach's position. Like, this is the first solid QB he's been able to like hold on to and not have to redraft every year. Sure. So I could see him wanting to hold on, but he's also a big fan of, I don't keep QBs unless they're really important. So I don't know. He may have after this year, but he also really likes him. So it's hard to say.
All right. I'm going to list off 6 guys here. Let me know if you'd keep Lamar Jackson over any of them. Okay. Deontay Johnson, Dalvin Cook, Darren Waller, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Thomas.
No.
Yeah,
not me personally.
Yeah.
You?
No, not. Yeah. I mean, maybe Deontay Johnson, just because I don't know what.
Because it's hard to say what's going to happen. Yeah.
But otherwise,
keep it up. But...
Yeah. Most of those other ones, I'm like, and that is, by the way, getting rid of Odell Beckham Jr., by the way.
That's right.
Getting rid of that train wreck who has not done anything outside of one catch with the Giants.
No, I agree. I'm not an OBJ fan, but I do think that the Browns have a chance to be better. And it was nice to see Mayfield actually performing at the end of the season. And I am on the side of, they had some horrible weather games at the beginning of the season that I think skewed a lot of statistics. But that's neither here nor there, because I don't think it would have made a difference for OBJ, but whatever.
Well, I mean, he was there at the beginning of the season, and they were doing terribly. And then they got rid of him. I mean, he got hurt. I won't say they got rid of. He got hurt. He was out of the picture.
They would have hit on their own man.
Exactly. Well, and then it opened up. I mean, because he didn't have to feed that one guy. I mean, I feel like that's the thing with, like, again, Tom Brady in Tampa. He's got like 7 dudes. He's like, doesn't really matter. I'm going to just throw it and somebody will be there. That's not OBJ in Cleveland. And that's probably the problem.
No, I'm with you. I think that he's just been overhyped. I don't think he's necessarily bad, but he is bad when put in a position to catch the ball every single play.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now next up on that list is bear down for balls deep. The 2 that you, again, have to choose between is Evans and Kamara. Obviously, you're choosing Kamara, and you're going to try to unload Mike Evans after a stellar year. Who else are you looking to keep?
Whatever. I don't care if I tell people my keepers. I plan on. I've always liked Cook, so I want to keep him.
Say,
it's nice
let me
being fed now.
Let me guess. All right.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay. So Justin Herbert, you're keeping Terry McLaurin, Swift, because you obviously I think you need to see what they have to do. Kamara.
Well, yeah, especially they started feeding him finally at the end of the season, so let's let them keep doing that.
Yeah. Cooks, I think you do have to keep, and then whoever you're trading Evans for. You're going to get a keeper for that. Those are your 6.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it
was real tough, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're obviously, Will Lutz was pretty much up there. And then Melvin Gordon obviously just shot himself in the foot this offseason. Amari Cooper, who knows? I mean, maybe that'll change your mind, but I think you need to wait and see what happens with the Dak Prescott recovery before you can really jump on that train. But
yeah. And it sucks because I gave away a pick and stuff for him, so it makes me want to hold on to him more, but just being unemotional about it, looking on paper, at this point, doesn't make a lot of sense to hold on to him, at least over the other options.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it just really kind of depends. because Cooks is one where like, yeah, you could probably keep him, and we'll see what happens. We actually haven't even talked about whatchamacallit yet, now that I think about it. What team is Brandon Cooks on?
Oh, he's the Texans, man.
That's what I thought. And he used to play for the LA Rams. Nice segue here. Very
well for a year or two, but he was drafted by the Saints.
Yeah.
Played there for a couple years, was a star, then went to the Rams for a year or two, and now, he's with the Texans.
Yeah, all right.
Or was there a... Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that as long as Deshaun Watson's going to keep feeding him and realizing how good he is compared... who's the other main receiver there?
Talking... no, I know. Kiki QT?
I'm actually not talking Kiki QT. Who's the other one? Which he's good too. But
you're talking to the guy that got kicked out for the performance-enhancing drugs.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. At the end of the season, I don't remember his name. It's spacing me. It's going to bother me a little bit.
But he was the number one.
Yes.
At the beginning of the season. And then finally they started realizing it's like, oh, Cooks is a burner. He can catch the ball. Let's get it to him a little more. And he was being open in the middle of the field a lot more. And if they can continue to use him, I think he's a wide receiver, like top 10, no question, if they use him.
Yeah.
But I think it was the same issue when he was with the Rams. They were much more a running team, and they already had too many read the ball too. So if they can tighten this up, keep Watson, and actually feed him the ball, I think he'll be a beast.
It was Will Fuller, by the way. That's the other.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God, such a huge name too.
Yeah.
Neither of us can think of it. But
that's all right. I was trying to use Cooks to segue over into the Rams because we have not yet talked about the Rams blockbuster trade with the Detroit Lions, in which they shipped off Jared Pretty Boy Goff to the frigid Midwest where he does terribly. I don't know why they decided, we're going to pick California boy. Who's running Detroit? I don't know.
No, that was clearly LA1 in this deal. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but
yeah.
I mean, that he was the main good part. Stafford's the main good part of that offense. He was the one thing keeping it together, essentially. Yeah. And then they got rid of him for fucking idiot Goff who can't even pass more than 2 yards.
Yeah, Jared Goff. So how much do you think that's going to change some of these decisions? Obviously, I know you were just talking Cooks. I don't know that Watson's going to stay in Texas. I mean, but now that you have guys, Swift, how much is that going to change your opinion on guys like that because you have Jared Goff up there?
Well, my hope is that it's actually going to help DeAndre Swift because Goff, that's all he passes to his running backs. So I hope it'll be an upgrade for Swift. Now, if Watson leaves Texas, suddenly, Cooks is way, way less enticing to me. I mean, it depends on who they get in there if he's a good passer. But if Watson goes, Cooks may now suddenly not be a keeper, and I may be looking at Amari Cooper. Yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, next up we do have Steel Dynasty, and he has one of the bigger decisions of the year. Deshaun Watson, Calvin Ridley, and Kenny Golladay are all at year 3 for him. Most of these other, obviously he's keeping Josh Jacobs.
He can drop Golladay now.
He can.
And Marvin Jones.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Aren't they both free agents, though?
Makes that easy. What's that?
Aren't they both free agents, though?
Oh, are they? I haven't been paying attention. Term-wise, they may be.
It's Detroit, so...
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so is he keeping David Johnson? There's the real question.
I think he is.
No? Do you think
I think so. I think he liked him enough.
Should he, though?
Over, who else would he keep over him? Because let's make the assumption he's just going to keep Watson rolling.
Okay. He's going to keep Watson. He'll keep Robinson. Godwin.
Yeah, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then what? Godwin, of course.
Yeah.
Right? Jacobs.
Yep.
And then, so of course, then Johnson's kind of the next step that would be the best, in my eyes. So
yeah, unless he can get a trade for Calvin Ridley. I imagine one of those guys is on the trading block, but that's a tough decision.
Yeah, it is. He's actually, he's got a few there that's going to be tough to let go of. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to move on now over to Solenia because he does have that Tom Brady, DK Metcalf stack that got him 9th place. So
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins and Chicago are the only two that he really has to choose between. Again, you should not keep a defense, generally speaking, especially when it's Chicago.
You'd think like 3 years of like 9th place would help him learn that, but
Hey, didn't he get like 8th last year?
yeah, I feel like he had 1 year when he was higher, like
was okay.
his first or second year. But
No, I think last year he was actually like 5th or something like that.
That
but
sounds right.
anyways, so he's obviously not keeping Brady. He's going to keep Metcalf, Hopkins.
Sure.
Do you think he keeps Chris Carson?
I'd be surprised if he didn't, just
Okay.
because it's, again, who is he going to keep over him? You know,
I imagine, because I want to say, what's his name? Aaron Jones he's got what, 1 year left on his contract, or is he near contract end? Because I imagine that's why he drafted A.J. Dillon. Am I right?
Yep. Which I would assume he's going to keep him. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't, seeing as we haven't really seen what he can do anyway, and he's on a good team.
Yeah.
You know,
Wait and see how that one goes around, but
and obviously he's going to keep Josh Allen.
yeah, I didn't realize he had him on his bench. But anyways, Marquise Brown. There's the other name in there. That's a
good old Hollywood.
Yeah, I seem to recall having a conversation about him in the.
Dude, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying it's the wrong team, and I stand by it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, while I had him, he was atrocious. The second I drop him, Anyways, that's
Lamar Jackson decides to pass the ball.
Yeah. All right, I don't want to look at this team anymore. It's pissing me off. See, Chicken Chokers, your dad for the second season in a row, I believe, has been so close to actually making the playoffs and just kind of losing out by the skin of his teeth. And he's set yet again to be able to walk into next season. Robert Woods is the only one that he has at year 3, so he could walk in with Russell Wilson, Robert Woods. I don't know that he's keeping Le'Veon Bell, but he's obviously going to keep Travis Kelce, Aaron Jones. I would say maybe even, I don't know. Yeah. Where do you go from here? Leonard Fournette, Mecole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Devontae Parker.
Well, and then, of course, you got to keep Helaire.
Yeah.
The Cajun lawyer, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I can't say I've heard that before, but that was funny.
And even, I mean, I don't know how he ends up like with all these huge names that he cleans up at the end of the season. I mean, obviously the one I'm most bitter about is Leonard Fournette, because I never really wanted to drop him, but I had no choice. And it was between him and Melly, and I just thought Melvin Gordon would be more consistent. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously the top 3 on his list right there, just keep them, Kelce, Aaron Jones. And then I guess then you got to go with Helaire. But yeah, again, he's got, or even Raheem Mostert, though.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel like you kind of got to hold on to him, too.
Yeah.
But again, that offense, you never know what they're going to do. So, but just skill-wise, I almost feel like you have to keep him. But yeah, he'll have some decisions to make. I don't know which way he's going to go with this. If he asks me to choose for him, if he's not going to draft, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do.
Well, I mean, he'll just ask you and then do the opposite, because when you guys seem to pick for each other's teams.
Yeah, right. Anyways. Yeah. If history is any indication. Yeah.
All right, so that was Sea Chicken Chokers. Next up is Clunge Plunger. He has to choose between Tyreek Hill and Julio Jones. I wonder which way he will go.
Yeah, I wonder.
But he's also, I think, another one of those teams that's like, he kind of has all these pieces there ready outside of, Juju Smith-Schuster. But I mean,
which I'm pretty sure I've been the one ringing the bell that he ain't what everyone thought he was since the year he went off. But whatever.
I think most of us have been doing that because Juju Smith-Schuster is trash.
Yeah, agreed. But he does have a lot of tough ones, though, because, I mean, he's Kyler Murray, obviously, Tyreek Hill, obviously. He's got to hold on to James Robinson now. Dallas Goedert, I think, is worth keeping, personally. But I like him a lot. I mean, as much of the crapshoot as tight ends are, I think when you're just talking pure skill and, like, he's a beast, yeah, I like him. So yeah, I would hold on to him. Kenyon Drake's obviously not worth anything anymore. And then you're down to, I guess, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's another one of those that he's got to wait and see how the offseason progresses. But, I mean, then at the bottom, too, he's got Cam Akers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Which is another one. God knows what. Yeah, I mean, the talent's there, but yeah.
Poised to walk into this next year. Him, Sea Chicken Chokers. I know we mentioned a couple other teams in the beginning there, but He's set to look pretty hot going into next year.
Yeah, well, hopefully a lot of these bigger names that crapped out this year will perform better for him next year.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully some of these like offensive lines and defenses that all said, yeah, we're going to opt out because of COVID. Hopefully they're all back. And,
Yeah, exactly. Have some full teams. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Next up is Chumbawamba. I would say not really a tough decision here, but she's going to have to make some trades. She has to choose between Lockett, Chubb, and Kittle, obviously. Which way do you go?
I mean, I don't know how I would choose between Chubb and Kittle. I would just go with whoever I can get a trade out of.
Yeah. Well,
no, never mind. No, I got to say I'd have to go Kittle just purely off because of the position.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think you could get enough for Chubb and actually spoiler here, she's actually looking at moving Chubb here in the near future. I overheard that. So,
well, at the beginning of the season, she offered me Chubb and Lockett for Kamara. So,
woof. All right. Well,
but
I mean, I wouldn't take that either, but.
I mean, and I even told her if maybe she went Allen. Didn't she have Allen Robinson at one point?
I don't know. She shuffles through some of these. You know how pissed she was when I'm just going to throw out there. She's not in the room, and so I'm going to. You know how pissed she was when she found out Jared Goff went to Detroit.
Why? What was she mad about it?
Because she's always had this like crush on Jared Goff.
Yeah, but does she have a crush on LA?
No, it's like, but those are the better colors.
Oh, gotcha,
right,
gotcha.
like that blue.
I'll disagree with that one.
I mean, I don't know. It's a lion versus like the gay ass ram horns that they upgraded to this last year. Keep the old horns, guys.
At least the like blue and gray is distinguished looking.
Yeah. No. Anyways, all right. Some of these other guys, obviously, she's getting rid of Phillip Rivers. She's going to keep George Kittle, I think, is what we said. I mean, what about like Keenan Allen, getting rid of Todd Gurley? She's keeping Austin Eckler. Do you keep Jared Cook? What are you looking at here?
I wouldn't. I want to kick him off of his current team, so I wouldn't keep Jared Cook. I
guess Myles Gaskin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Keenan Allen fan, so no question keeping him to me, especially now that he's got a good quarterback.
Sure.
And even Mike Davis is a tough one to let go of.
That's that handcuff, though. But he was on a 1-year deal, as I recall, so he might not end up back in Carolina.
Right. That's what I was thinking. It's like wherever he goes, I think he's proven he can do the have a heavier workload and do okay.
I don't know about that. What, like, name a team that you would send him to that you're like, yeah, actually he'd do better. I mean, you couldn't send him to any. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Maybe Atlanta.
Nah, because they throw too much.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the only team I can think of where it's like. I mean, name a team that doesn't have a running back that he would fit in with.
Well, okay. Again, I was gonna say he could do what Robinson did, take over for Fournette, but they're not gonna get rid of Robinson, so he would go there.
Yeah, no, and I think that's part of the problem that he's going to have is he's going to have to relegate himself to the handcuff role because he's not going to Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit. No. I mean, you're not going to Indianapolis. You're not going to. I mean, you wouldn't want to go to New England just because the way they run their backfield is like you might have it this week, but then you're going to sit on the bench for 3 weeks while some old grandpa can get himself 4 touchdowns. I mean, and so what's he going to choose? Is he going to be that handcuff, or is he going to try to be the guy somewhere? And I don't know that that's a good choice.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I think he's probably going to end up a free agent at the beginning of the season. Wait till a star gets injured,
goes down.
That's my guess.
Probably David Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah. Statistically, yeah, you're probably right.
All right. Yeah, she's got some tough decisions, but we are going to move on to maybe, just maybe, because he does surprisingly had one of the youngest teams, which we also need to talk about because nobody has sent in a suggestion to replace him. This team is currently vacant.
I need to text Bryce. I keep forgetting, but yeah.
Yeah, or if anybody else does have somebody, we do have to do a vote to fill this team. We are still early enough in the year. It doesn't have to happen right this second, but the sooner we can, they can make some offseason moves. Not like they want to, because obviously Patrick Mahomes is the only one who is at year 3. This team is stacked if they can make the right decision.
Yeah, well, and if these players continue. I mean, who knows if Justin Jefferson's going to continue doing what he's been. I mean, he should, right? But it's still a question mark in my eyes. Same with Ayuk. you know, again, bunch of young guys. So
Yeah.
they should. And again, Marlon Mack, I wouldn't bother with, but
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but the top like five, pretty much the top ones there, you already know that's who they should keep.
yeah. Well, I mean, most of these down like Patrick Mahomes, Adams, Brown. I don't know if he's going to keep Montgomery or if he's going to go with Hunt, but then obviously you're keeping Andrews, Justin Jefferson. It's like those are the top six. So it's like,
You really think that that's even a question? Montgomery versus Hunt?
yeah,
I'm thinking again, just like I'm thinking more just situation and how much they're going to get the ball.
I don't know. I don't trust Chicago with the way they run their
True.
offense.
Very true.
And
That's valid.
I feel like nobody was talking David Montgomery at the beginning of the season. It wasn't until like 5 or 6 weeks into the year, everybody was all of a sudden like, oh yeah, look at this guy, because there's nothing else happening there. If you have Mitch Trubisky throwing the ball, obviously somebody's got to step up at some point. It just so happens to be David Montgomery. So,
Oh yeah, I put him like Ronald Jones tier. I don't think he's anything huge but again, more it's just situational, I think.
sure.
But like you said, it is there. So who knows?
Yeah. But all right, so that looks to be a solid team. Once we do get somebody in there, they can start making trades, hopefully, and break up that. Next up is Masochistic Monkeys. The only one that's beyond tenure is Adam Thielen, which they end up keeping him, obviously. I mean, who knows?
Why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, most of the rest of these guys, he did end the year with, I believe, 4 quarterbacks on his roster with Tannehill, Burrow, Prescott, and Cousins.
You are correct. He sure did.
Yeah.
Well, at least Prescott was on his IR, right?
So was Joe Burrow. Both of them were on IR, but
I forgot Joe Burrow existed. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm a little surprised he didn't also manage to have Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota on there somehow. But
yeah, I'm kind of disappointed in him, but whatever.
Well. What about the rest of these guys? What do you think?
Again, I feel like it's pretty damn straightforward who he's keeping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diggs,
go down
Thielen,
the list.
Henry. What about Connor or Hines? Either of these guys?
Versus,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think you should keep one of them. Now, as to which, yeah, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Well,
And I think there's an argument to be made that Noah Fant should be kept. Again, just because that
wait,
position's
over Eric
rough.
Ebron? What? No. I don't know. I think that one also depends on, like, there are a couple of these guys. It just depends on what happens. I mean, because isn't Naeem Hines behind Jonathan Taylor?
Right.
So
yeah,
and
technically
I mean,
he's the handcuff, as I understand it.
Yeah, same thing with Jamal Williams. I think he should probably keep Henry Ruggs just because he had
flashes. Oh yeah,
of
sorry, I
greatness,
totally missed Ruggs. Yes, just pure talent. I would keep
Yeah.
Henry Ruggs.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
wrong team, but just pure talent. Yeah.
it just depends on what happens here in this offseason, because obviously if Deshaun Watson does go to Denver, then yes, Noah Fant is an obvious keep, but we'll see what happens. And then last but not least is the Dark Knights with another not really tough decision here. I get to choose between Cooper Kupp, Christian McCaffrey, and Saquon Barkley. Let's talk what went wrong with this team this year.
You go ahead. I think you know better than I do.
Everything went wrong. No, I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it just injuries, man. It was between. Yeah, I don't know. There's no real reason to. I mean, look at some of these guys. I have QQT on my like Tony Paul. Like, come on now, this is ridiculous. But
yeah, well, I'm curious. What are your keepers then? Who are you thinking?
Well,
you gonna stick with Hurst, or is it Hurts or Hurst? I always mix it up.
Hurts. Wow, okay. I might have typoed that.
I know, that's why I can't remember though. If it's Hurst or Hurts.
I'm gonna have to double check that one. Quick fact check. It's Hurts.
Okay, there you go. Officially, it is Hurts.
It's
okay.
Hurts. Yeah, because it's Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, maybe that's where I'm getting. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, this one is probably one of the tougher years. Most years I know who I'm going to walk into the next season with, and so I can kind of make my moves around it. But I mean, obviously I want to keep Christian McCaffrey, but Saquon Barkley and Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is one of those that looks good now because he has what's his name? Matt Stafford, right?
Well, I was going to say, right, because he's still in LA, right?
He is still in LA.
So,
and he was.
So he's suddenly, much more enticing. Yeah.
He is, especially when, I mean, even though they did have similar stats for quarterbacks, I feel like when Matt Stafford zones in on somebody or when you get that connection, they're good to go. So assuming they don't get any other wide receivers in there, the way they have it set up in LA, he will be a good candidate. But it also comes down to one of those where who are you going to choose over him? Because obviously, let's say I go Christian McCaffrey, I'd go Antonio Gibson, you go probably T. Higgins, depending on how Joe Burrow recovers. Zeke, I feel like I have to keep Chase Claypool just because of what it is, but there's so many wide receivers there. I wrote running back on there. That is
I was going to say, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's a wide receiver.
Anyway. He is a wide receiver. But then there's questions like Robert Tonyan. Do you keep him just because of the position?
Right.
I'm not keeping Kiki QT or Jeff Wilson. Harrison Butker, obviously, he's great. Another one of those great names. Harrison. Anyways, yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, you have quite a few guys to choose from. I mean, you kind of have a lot of the guys that finished the season pretty damn strong. It's just, when you look at guys like Tony Pollard, it's like, I actually think if he was a lead back for another team, he could be pretty damn good. But if Zeke's back healthy, no, he's worthless, So
again, the problem is the Mike McCarthy issue there. It's like, because I feel like either one of them at any point could just drop the ball, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, it happens one time over a course of 1,000. Who knows? But then he's like, no, you're on the bench because I'm Mike McCarthy and I don't coach well.
Yeah, what the hell I'm doing here. That's a tough one. I'm with you that I'd be much higher on Cooper Kupp now. I don't know if I would bother keeping Hurts just because there are other options.
Mm-hmm.
But he obviously showed he can get you points.
Yeah.
And then, and Chase Claypool, I'm with you that he's just as much of a question mark as any other receiver on that team. So, I mean, I don't know who I like better, him or Jonathan, honestly.
Yeah.
A
lot of decisions.
That'd be tough.
And you have not helped me out at all yet.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
But needless to say, as I look over these, there haven't been any offseason moves at this point. It does look like there are some teams that do need to make some moves, mine included. So I'm not sure what one would give for a cup, but,
Two girls and a cup.
Hey. Never mind. We're just going to move on.
Just going to gloss over that one, yeah.
All right. Keepers, we are a little ways out from that one, and obviously same thing with the old draft. Once we get that other person in here, we are going to get everything squared away with the vote, get them all up to speed, all that jazz. Dates will be coming soon. Both the things that we talked over, the top 10s, as well as all the final rosters. I'll try to remember to fix the typos, but probably not. It'll all be attached, but before we do wrap this one up, sir, do you have anything you want to say to any of these teams? You're going to come back stronger than ever, having outscored everybody in the championship game, or?
Yeah, sure. I'm sure I'm going to whoop all your asses.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, on that note, again, everybody just go ahead and keep an eye out for everything that's going to be coming in the off season. Dates will be coming soon. And the attachments today. All right, sir. Thanks so much for being on here. Yeah. All right. Until next time.
Yeah.
Lips with the king insufficient. Fold his face in the crease of this page. It takes away out of this. It takes away out of trickling the chicken of this grandfather clock. The opposition can't feel the tentacle ring suction cup the numb arms of the elderly. Bad and August user, dilated, bastard waiting for nothing. Circus con and garden, the gates of heaven, packs like a nimble abduction. Run away through destiny. Run away through destiny. And if this clock keeps ticking away, will time be hesitating? Will all the minutes that were taken away, will you watch me waiting? Samples through time portals, these landfills, we mortals. And if this clock keeps beating down, let the random time keep playing. Of all the minutes that were taken away, will you watch me waiting?